Hey everyone, it is the Chain Crew. We're back here with some more hot takes and some more controversy for you.
True.
Today we're going to go over the second year quarterbacks. We got a phenomenal quarterback draft last year. Some of them balled out last year. Some of them didn't even see the field because they're too whiny baby to deal with a leg injury and get out
Honestly,
there.
true. Rub some
Yeah,
dirt
Wow.
on it,
you know,
Captain.
Wow.
rub some dirt
Wow.
on that ACL and get out there. Um, but we're gonna go through that, and then we're gonna go over some players that we think are Hall of Fame or not, and then we're gonna end this like we always will with another hot take from each of the guys, and hopefully it doesn't get too heated because mine this time is a little bit rough.
I'm
um,
very interested to see
so we're
what
gonna,
each of y'all's are.
yeah,
Just to
yeah.
point it out, we are doing a hot take on the NFC East. So we'll each be
Uh,
picking a subject from it. Going to be very interesting. I'm quite excited to see what these guys have. I think I have a good one, but we'll get into it when the time comes. Do we want to start
yeah.
with our ranking our second
Yeah.
year QBs?
Yes, and we're going off of passing yards is what we're
Yep.
clarifying because some of these guys are going to run a lot more than some of the other guys.
Yep.
And we have the over unders for what the projections are for total yards passing throughout the season. Um, so yeah, I kind of thought it'd be fun. Do we say our bottom three first and then go to our top three, or do we just someone just goes through their list and then we agree or disagree on it?
One we should do, we should each say six, and then each say five, and then four, and
I
then
like
three,
that.
then two, then one. But
Each,
just to point
each
that out, we
say
are
all
doing
six.
six. I'm sure there's some other QBs we're not thinking of, but like we're picking the six main guys from the
Joe
2024
Milton.
draft because those are the guys who were drafted in the first round. Joe Milton obviously can't be on here because he'd be ranked so far ahead of everybody that it wouldn't even be fair.
Yes.
Right. But
Um,
wait for our Hall of Fame or not conversation for that
Yeah,
guy.
exactly. Exactly. And I think we all agree Hall of Fame. But
Right.
Absolutely.
let's get started. Carter can start with his number six. The players we
Mhm.
are speaking of, just to remind you guys of the 2024 draft picks, we got Caleb Williams, we got Jaden Daniels, Drake May, JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, Michael Penix. So that is the players that we got. That's who we're ranking. Well, let's start with number six for Carter, then me, then Schmeigs, and then we'll go through it.
I do not think he will be the worst performing quarterback, but I think he will have the least pass yards, and it's Bo Nix.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I love Denver. I'm very high on Denver, but I think they're going to run the ball really well. And he won't be relied on a lot to throw the ball. And Sean Payton, Sean Payton just is a kind of a defense and run first coach. And I think they want to establish the run. So I'm going Bo Nix, number six. I love him though. I mean, I had him on my fantasy team last year, and again, I'm high on the Broncos, but
Yeah.
I don't think
I
he'll have as many pass yards as the rest.
I don't hate that take. Drew Brees never had great passing seasons with Sean
Yeah.
Payton. So
True. And now he doesn't have a shoulder. So,
he wins
Michael
some, you
Thomas
lose
doesn't
some.
have a leg either, by the way. But
How can
you,
you say? How can you compare Bo Nix to Drew Brees?
well,
Uh,
so they
so
both throw footballs. So, I mean, if you're going to be on an NFL podcast, why don't you know something for once?
I'm looking at the rest of these guys and I'm thinking these guys are just going to have to throw the ball more.
I agree. And that's why my number six, it's Bo Nix.
Thank you. Thank
guys,
you.
you guys are gonna
So
hate.
yeah,
You guys
I
are gonna
agree with
hate
the
me.
same thing. I think they're gonna win a decent bit of games this year. I could be entirely wrong. Okay, this comes from an early 2010s Broncos hater because I'm a Patriots fan. Peyton Manning ruined my life for a couple years there. But I think Bo Nix and the Broncos are going to do really good, but I think they're going to run the ball a lot. So I have him lower. Plus the other guys, I think they're either going to be behind a lot, so throwing a lot, or they have better weapons. So, combination of those two things. That's my thoughts. Schmeeks?
Completely agree.
Oh,
I got
people.
shit on first,
Well, I had to,
but thanks.
the
Well,
podcast.
I already threw everything I had at you. By the time
Hmm.
he came around, I was just emotionally devoid
And
of
that's
finding
how this is
anyone.
going to go. I already
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
how this is going to go.
Well,
The
yeah,
podcast is
yeah. I'm
breaking
about
up.
to take some. Yeah. The next
I'm out of
episode,
here.
we can't do this. No, my take is gonna ruffle feathers. I got Drake May at six.
Go.
I don't. You talk about Sean Payton being defensive minded. What about Vrabel? And, I got nothing against Drake May. I think he's phenomenal. I think I look down the rest of the supporting cast that these guys have. Thank you for that. The rest of the support cast these guys have. I don't quite see it yet for Drake May. Give me the duck. Um, I got him. I got him at 6. I'm sorry, Dom. I love you, and I'm hoping I'm wrong.
I'll take
Let's
plus ratio. But
I'll take
we
plus
can't all be
ratio.
perfect. So I forgive you, Schmeeks.
let's snake it back. Schmeeks, give us your 5.
My 5. I wasn't ready for this. Oh man, dude, this is so bad.
Okay.
This
I
is so
swear to
bad.
God, don't pick who I think you're gonna pick.
He
I
might.
kind of want to,
He's
but
gonna
I
make us
don't think I
mad back to
am.
back.
I think I'm going to have to go with another. I'm gonna make you guys mad regardless. I'm gonna have to go with Caleb Williams. Um, I didn't think he
Hot takes is at the
went
end of the
crazy
show. You
last
know that,
year.
right?
Yeah. I think I don't look at any of the other names and think that he's going to throw for more than them. I got nothing against the guy. I hope he does well, but I think I just really am high on Nix, Penix, JJ McCarthy, Penix, my
I
bad,
bet you are
and
high
Jaden
on
Daniels this year.
Penix, buddy.
Dude, I'm high on some peen. You know?
We we have Caleb Williams over under as 3,550 yards, and last year he threw for 3,541. He threw right at
While
that
getting
line.
sacked 70 times or something like that, by
Well,
the way.
I might be absolutely smoked because that's way more than I thought. But I'm sticking with.
That's all right.
I thought it was like 3K tops.
All
Tom,
right.
go ahead.
Well,
What's your 5?
my number 5, I'm going Michael Penix. I'm not very high on Penix today. But I haven't seen enough of him. He has really good weapons, obviously. He's got one of the best running backs in the league. He's got Kyle Pitts, who's bound to break out any year now. And he's got Drake London, obviously, who just had a phenomenal season. But I just haven't seen enough of him. So I know I'm kind of being biased here because my next guy we've seen 0 of. But I think I got to go with Michael Penix here. Plus
Sorry,
he's
Dom.
left-handed,
Number 5 for me
so
is Drake May. I'm sorry, but I think here's my
think for
reasoning
2
though.
seconds.
I am thinking he ran a lot with his feet last year. He won't have to do that as much this year. But you have an amazing rookie running back. You have an improved O line. I think the run game is better, and I think that he will have to throw, but he won't have to throw a ton. And I think I like Drake May, but I think their run game is going to be pretty important in their offense. But who knows?
I agree.
I mean, I think he's a dual threat quarterback. He is a pretty athletic dual threat quarterback, especially for a white guy. And but I gotta have him at 5.
Okay. Well,
Wow.
so Carter's hot take today is the Drake May rushes for 2,000 yards.
That's what I'm saying.
Which that's a
That's
hot
exactly
take because it's
correct.
a little low. Little low. All right, but we got to go with your number 4
4.
pick. Yeah, okay. Go give us your number
Michael
4.
Penix. Michael
Okay.
Penix Jr. I like him, but like you said, I think similar to Drake May, I think Penix, I think their run game's going to be decent. But I think he'll have to throw the ball a little bit more.
Fair.
I think he's good. I think he's going to prove that he can be a pocket passer in the NFL this year. I don't know if he's going to go crazy like 3,800 yards, but I could see him going 31, 3,200 and 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, like a decent year. And I think they're going to get the ball to Bijan a lot. I could see him kind of playing the Purdy role where he just throws to Robinson like Purdy throws to CMC,
Yeah, I can
like
see
just
that.
just handoffs and dump offs and screens to Robinson a lot.
Yeah.
And I like him. I think he'll be good, but again, I don't think he will have to throw the ball, and I don't think he'll be I don't think they'll have as many play calls to throw the ball as much. I don't think they'll be playing from behind a ton, maybe a little bit, but they're just not a pass first offense. I think in Atlanta, so I got them at 4.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. So my number 4, I already teased it earlier. I got JJ McCarthy. Okay. Which means my top 3 is the top 3 picks of that draft in some type of order, right? But I got JJ McCarthy. He obviously has the best weapons out of all these guys. He's got the most dangerous wide receiver on earth, and I'm not talking about Antonio Brown. He's also got, Jordan Addison. He's got TJ Hawkinson. He's got a great offense around him. But again, I'm not going to base it off of something I haven't quite seen yet. We didn't see much of it in college either. He's got insane potential, but he was kind of a handoff merchant at Michigan. He hit the throws when he needed to, but we haven't seen enough yet. So I've got him at 4. And then my next 3 are going to be very, very interesting. But Schmeigs, you're up with number 4. We'll see what you got.
I got JJ at 4 too, and you hit almost all the points I said.
Let's go, baby.
And I'm at a point in time where I feel like you could put, like how Bill Belichick, he would just put like guys out of Subway at the slot and they go for 1,500. I'm at a point where it's like you got Justin Jefferson at Jordan Addison, like put some guy out of Safeway back there. He's thrown for 3K. Yep. And that's what I love about JJ is like I feel like he's got so much. I mean, he's in such a good situation. I love that for him. But to Dom's point, I got to see him live up to it before I fully invest in him over some really talented guys coming up.
Yep, facts. I like it. All right.
I don't like that at all.
I bet you don't, buddy. I bet you don't, buddy. You had Draconius Mayday, the magician, at 5. So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Now,
putting him at 5 is kind of crazy, Carter.
True. So true. So true.
I had him at 6.
I'm going to forget what Schmeigs did.
I'm going to go.
Who's your number 3?
Yeah, I'm going to go with my number 3, and I'm going to put I know I'm in just a terrible. You guys are probably super frustrated with who I have left. I'm putting Penix at 3. I thought he was phenomenal in college. I thought he looked great last year. To your point, Bijan, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, baby. It has to happen sometime.
It literally will. I promise.
And I think everyone's overlooking the X factor. The X factor here. No one saw him coming last year. He came onto the Atlanta team and just out of nowhere was a star for them. Ray McLeod. No, but I just like the weapons he has, and I like his talent so much. I obviously, you guys know, I'm a Seattle fan. I got to see Michael Penix live at UW, and man, that guy can sling it. So I'm biased, but I'm leaving him here.
That's fair. That's fair.
Might be the first time ever you've pronounced every single player on a team correctly.
Wow. That's crazy.
I like the left-handed handicap you gave him by boosting him up the list as well.
I have a feeling that you put Drake May at 1.
I guess we're gonna find out.
You went Homer.
I guess we're gonna find out, aren't we? Number 3. I talked about this in the last podcast, so it shouldn't be much of a surprise. I said I thought he was gonna have a worse year this year, because I thought it was a little bit of a Cinderella run deep into the playoffs last year. I got Jaden Daniels at number 3. And I have my explanations as to why number 2 and number 1 are in their spots, and they're going to make sense right now. Everyone can get mad at me. Thank you. Jaden Daniels, I think it's obviously very hard for rookie QBs to repeat success like that in their second season. There's been barely any who have done anything like that. Justin Herbert was pretty much the last one. He had 5,100 yards or something his second year. He played phenomenal. But other than that, rookie QBs, their second year, they usually take a step back. So I don't think he's going to have the same success as last year. There's a lot of random, insane stuff that happened. So I don't see that repeating. And that's why I got Jaden Daniels at number 3.
I clapped because I completely agree. I got Jaden Daniels at 3 as well. He's a little polarizing for me. Schmeigs put him up as opportunity to win MVP in our last video. And
it got us a good thumbnail though.
His stats for a rookie, were so good last year, but I think he's going to do a lot with his feet. He's going to throw the ball up. But I mean, he had 890 rush yards as a rookie.
Yep.
That is so impressive. I think he's going to do even more with his feet next year. However, I think defenses are going to kind of figure him out a little bit.
Yep.
There are really good coaches. I mean, why do they pay coaches millions of dollars in the NFL? They are coaches that will figure players out. I think that, and I agree with it. But then I think about Lamar. And Lamar came in and did kind of what Jane Daniels has done, where he was a dual threat, skinny, fast, crazy as a rookie, and kind of took a step back a little bit as a sophomore, and then has absolutely destroyed since then. And I could see Jane Daniels kind of doing the same. Is maybe stepping back a little as a sophomore, but I don't know how much it'll be because he could still be incredible.
Wait, am I crazy? Didn't Lamar play just a couple games his rookie season, and then his second season was 2019 where he won the MVP?
Yeah, you are not crazy. I didn't want to interrupt Carter, but
Oh,
I remember he went. That was the year too where he had that like 68
my
yard
bad.
touchdown where he hit a spin move up the middle. He went nuts.
Okay, I was gonna say
Okay,
I
all right.
couldn't remember if I was
I was
being
wrong.
crazy or not because I was thinking about Lamar Jackson when I was talking about this,
Well,
but like
if
he obviously didn't play much his rookie year, so I wasn't going to count that.
if if it
My
helps
memory's
Carter,
not good.
when I was talking about the guy that came over for Penix earlier, I was trying to remember Darnell Mooney's name, but I couldn't say, so I said Ray McLeod instead.
Let's go.
So
I
it
love it.
happens. We
Uh,
forget stuff.
I
Yep.
I I love Jaden Daniels, and I want to see him succeed. So even if it's not a ton of passing yards, I hope it's a lot of rushing yards. But
That's fair.
I have him at
That's fair.
3-2. Going to number two, I have Caleb Williams, and I don't like it as a Vikings fan, but I respect it. Even like we were talking about with the terrible O line play, and
Yep.
their offense couldn't score. It seemed like he still made some crazy throws. He still was somewhat accurate when he had time. He had 3,500 pass yards.
He had 20
I think
touchdowns
the
and
Bears.
6 picks, and people are talking like he was
I,
horrendous. Like,
that's true. Yeah. I think he has to be even better. He was good, and I
yeah,
think he'll be even better because the Bears, as a team, will be better. Which again, it makes me sick to say that because I'm a Vikings fan. I don't want them to be better, and I think they're cursed, and I hope they're terrible. But on paper, with the coaching and the better offensive linemen, more experience, they got another rookie receiver. I just think that offense should be electric. It really should.
yeah,
Honestly, every single offense in our division should be electric. Bears, Lions, Vikings, and Packers should all be very good,
true, true.
um, in my opinion. So I think Caleb Williams is second in passing yards out of these quarterbacks next year.
I like it. All right. Going into mine, my number 2 is Drake May. I did not put him number 1, not a homer pick, because I think they're gonna lose. They're gonna be down a bunch this upcoming year. He's gonna have to throw the ball a bunch. They got a new offensive coordinator, got Josh McDaniels back. He loves passing the ball. I think he's gonna be throwing the ball a lot, and they're gonna be down a lot. So gonna get a decent bit of yards that way. Stephon Diggs, he might have gotten hurt last year, and he might be like doing God knows what with who knows who on boats lately. But I think he's gonna help him a lot. One thing I will say is Josh Allen, when he added Stephon Diggs to the team, he went off. So it's only right that the guy who is compared to Josh Allen also goes off when he also gets Stephon Diggs. Don't think about the age or the injuries or anything. Thank you very much. That is my TED Talk. Drake May, MVP in the next 3 seasons.
I love it.
Respect that.
And
Respect it.
you can't argue, if there was a guy, I think my favorite quote from Stephon Diggs is I'm never the bigger man.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that he's continued to live by that.
My goat.
I mean, and if there's a guy in the NFL who could do God knows what with who knows who on boats and come back and put up a 1,600-yard season, if you were to just blankly ask me that, I'd be like, Diggs.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
who knows? I don't think this affects him
too.
at all personally.
Absolutely.
My number two. I feel like I'm getting boring now because I'm just trailing you all. My number 2 is Jaden Daniels. You guys touched base on it all. I just thought he looked phenomenal last year.
Yep.
I thought he looked a little bit more elusive than Caleb. He threw the ball remarkably well downfield, especially on Hail Marys against Caleb Williams. And yeah, I can't argue with it. To your point, am I nervous that he will probably get way
Regress.
more rushing yards?
Oh.
And yeah, he might regress, but I could see him actually, in terms of pure passing, be, third, fourth, fifth on this list and still have a phenomenal season because he puts up 800 rushing yards with,
Yeah, that's fair.
another 6 touchdowns. So I'm not as confident on this one, but just it's hard. He's just such a talented guy. I had to have him at 2.
That's very fair. So
Right
you're
there.
number 1 then.
My number 1, dude, this might be the thumbnail, because you guys had him at 6, and my number 1's Bo Nix at this point. Um, and worth saying, because I went and I double checked it, he threw for more yards than any other rookie last year. And maybe you can't estimate sophomore slumps, but the dude threw for 3,800 last year, 29 touchdowns to 12 interceptions, was in a Sean Payton offense. He's been compared to Drew Brees. You're saying he's not Drew Brees, but that was his comp when people talked about arm strength coming into this. And for a guy coming into it, where I just heard constantly he didn't have the arm strength to be an NFL quarterback, his throws downfield looked fine to me.
I agree. I agree.
That guy was lobbing the rock. I think if anything, they're gonna just get better at wide receiver this year. I think he debatably has the best O-line play this year. I like him going for 4K, honestly.
It's fair.
I like that. I did not know. What's weird to me is when we put this list together a little bit ago, he is second lowest out of these 6 projected yards. But you're right, he had 3,700 pass yards last year. That's 600 more than what they're putting him at right now, which is kind of weird.
Hammer the line, boys. Hammer that line. We're putting bets down tonight.
I respect that. All right, good. See, I think we all have some good takes. I think we all just kind of perceive these offenses maybe going in a different way. Like I see the Broncos running more and the Patriots running more, and you guys are like, nah, Broncos are gonna throw a lot, Patriots are gonna throw a lot. Like,
well,
it's all right.
And let's be frank too, like legitimately, if there was ever a year where you could have 6 quarterbacks in the top 10 of the upcoming season, this is it. Like I'm not. I know that might be a bold take, but like we're not picking who's gonna go and just be absolute garbage. I think all of these guys have the capability to be superstars, and that's what makes this fun.
That's fair. Well, speaking on that, we will be talking about our top 10 QBs in an upcoming episode. But at number 1, I got Caleb Williams. I mean, the talent is undeniable. He was taken number 1 overall for a reason. He won the Heisman for a reason. He was, called generational for a reason. Although I didn't agree quite with the generational takes, because it takes a lot to be actually generational at the QB position. But Caleb Williams, they added Ben Johnson as their head coach. He's like an offensive mastermind, obviously. They got Colston Loveland in the draft. They got Luther Burden somehow in the second round. They've got an absolutely stacked offense, and they built up their O-line a ton as well. I think the sky is the limit for him, and I would really love to see him absolutely go off this year. I could see him finally breaking that Bears 4,000-yard mark this year, and I think it's finally going to happen. I'm seeing 4,132 yards this year through the air. That's my guess. We'll see how it goes, but that's my guess.
I have nothing against him as a person or a player, but because I don't like the Bears, I really hope it doesn't happen.
That's fair.
But I respect that.
I don't think I don't think it will for more than that. And my big take on it, my big thing with Caleb that is shying me away from it is, as a guy who watched Russell Wilson for years, I will completely and utterly agree with anyone who says sacks are a QB statistic.
Oh, some of the stacks were definitely on him for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like you said, generational talent, I'll give it to him. I think he has so much talent to run and throw. I did not see him process the field as much as I think I saw with some of the other guys on this list. Pre-snap and post-snap, I thought he kind of ran around a little bit too much for my liking. But this guy's amazing, and he could come in and just light it up and throw for 4K.
I think some of that goes with the coaching though too, because like there was those reports that came out that he literally was like
That's fair.
studying the tape by himself. Like there was no coaches there to do anything. Like all that stuff. Matt Eberflus gotta be one of the worst coaches I've ever seen in my life. I feel like a coach
Agreed.
really impacts that a lot, honestly.
Agreed.
But I mean,
I
and
didn't
there was
Agreed.
I
games
didn't
last
know that.
season where he looked phenomenal, and then games where he
Right.
looked, pedestrian. But I think that some of the throws that I saw in those games where he looked phenomenal were just some of the best throws I've seen, like from a QB straight up all of last year. Like he looked insane in some of those games. So I think the potential is very much there. Just got to put it all together, and hopefully Ben Johnson can help him do that.
Yeah, he probably will. Unfortunately for Carter.
Unfortunately for Carter. Who's your number one, Carter?
You know, I
Joe
made a
Milton.
homer pick and I went with JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, you were giving me
Oh, look
all
at
that
that
crap
smile.
for putting
Look
Drake
at
May
that
at 2.
smile.
I the points
I
you guys
love you.
made make sense, and
Thank you.
I'm becoming maybe a little too optimistic. He played one preseason game, and yes, he looked good, but it's a
He looked
preseason
really
game.
good, yeah.
Like we really don't know. I can only go off of hope and what players are talking about, and
Yeah.
last year again, what Kevin O'Connell did with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold
Yes.
had a lot of talent. He definitely blossomed in Minnesota,
Yep.
proved that he could play at
Yes.
this level, and it was the culture and the coaching and the offensive weapons that I think were probably the biggest part of that. And I could see JJ McCarthy flourishing and doing the same. I don't know. I think we throw the ball a lot, but I was just checking the stats and we're right kind of in the middle. Like we didn't throw the ball more than a ton of teams or less than a ton of teams. We're kind of right in the middle for like passing attempts. I think of us as a pass first team, but I don't know. The stats don't lie. Maybe we weren't. And I don't know. I think we will be in competitive games, though. Our division's going to be very competitive. I think there's
Yeah.
a big reason why Caleb Williams is going to get so many passers because he's going to have to pass the ball a lot in his divisional games, and I think JJ McCarthy will too. So I maybe should have. I don't know. I'm regretting my list a little bit, but I
No,
love JJ
don't.
McCarthy, and I'm excited. I'm
regrets.
enthusiastic,
I love it.
and we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. So either way, I hope he has a good season. I hope they all have a good season. I think we're all excited about him.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's what
absolutely.
matters. Like Shanice was
Can,
saying, these are great guys, and
I mean, at the end of the day,
yeah.
you can bank on at least like 1,500 yards for JJ McCarthy that Justin Jefferson will get. So, you're about a
And-
third of
There
the
you
way
go.
there.
There you go.
and can I just say, I'm a little jealous right now talking to both of you that you guys got like two phenomenal, possibly franchise quarterbacks
Damn
that we're
right.
kind of like pushing. And I'm over here like, oh, I'm really hoping Sam Darnold.
Yeah, you're talking about Sam Darnold.
is really
That's
I
very
hope
fair.
I hope he doesn't regress back to what he showed every other year except last year.
I had to watch 3 years of Mac Jones though to get where I am today. Okay, you don't know all the pain I had to suffer through and push
don't.
through just to reach
Shut up.
these peaks.
Shut up. Shut up.
You didn't like
Tom Brady,
that
shut up.
gritty? That
No.
gritty. No,
Didn't
that
like a
gritty
thing.
wasn't fun for you.
I knew from
Mac
the
Jones
second
crazy.
Carter was at my house when they got drafted, and I knew from the second that he walked up, when he got
was a
announced as
rough
the pick,
walkout.
that he was going to be a bust. You can tell.
It was a rough
Carter can
walkout.
quote me on it. I said he was going to
Yes.
be a bust.
The arm
did.
movement was a little bit
He did.
suspicious.
Yeah,
for
dude,
sure,
he wasn't
on that
moving
That's
one
how
of
I-
them.
Who was the BYU guy who got drafted to
Cougar
the
Hunter.
Jets? Zach
Cougar
Wilson.
Hunter.
When Zach Wilson got drafted and was standing next to all those studs at the draft, I was like, this kid looks scared. He doesn't look like he belongs there at all. Yes.
Side-eyeing.
That's why I was
That
like,
so
he's
funny.
so scared. There's
It
no
was.
way he's gonna ball.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
I want to transition to our next part of the podcast here. If you guys are ready, the veteran players who we think will make it to the Hall of Fame or not.
Yes. Yep.
Do you have the list prepared? I think we just start with our two big name quarterbacks we mentioned right before we started.
Yep.
And then we
Oh
can go
my
I'm
through
with
that
goodness.
list.
Yes.
All right, so boys, we're pretty much just going to be saying one player's name. We have a list written down of these players, and we're each going to discuss Hall of Fame or not. Some of them are going to be easy, some of them not so much, and then some of them are definitely going to be some heated discussions, I'm sure. But let's get into it with our first one. Schmeigs, Carter, you want to lead it off?
Patrick Mahomes.
Not.
Say what you will. Say what
Easily
you
not.
will. He
Yes.
did he have an MVP season? I think he did.
He's had
Or
two
am I crazy,
MVPs.
Matt?
He has 2 MVPs.
Oh my goodness, I'm
Yep.
crazy then. But he 2 MVPs, 3 Super Bowls. I mean, give it to him. I mean, if he retired today, he's in. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And
I
he's
have to
probably got
agree with
another
that.
5 to
I
10
agree.
years.
I agree. I don't know if he'll have 10 more years because I feel like his style of play just doesn't fit that type of thing.
Right.
He really uses the legs a lot and his cannon of an arm, and both of those things, at least the legs go away as you age. But he's obviously a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. He one of the probably 7 greatest quarterbacks of all time. And you could debate even higher than that. So I think that one's a pretty easy one. But I'm going to say no for the sake of the podcast.
No, you can't know. You need to be. You gave good reasoning. You were
Fine.
honest.
He's a Hall of Famer.
I,
I'll admit it.
good.
Fine.
Good. Aaron Rodgers is not even who we're talking about next, and I hate him to death, but
Yep.
he is a Hall of Famer. Just
Aaron
so you know
Rodgers.
that I am going to do the same thing.
Okay, that's fair.
And you gotta.
Speaking of
I
quarterbacks,
take issue with that. No, I'm just kidding.
speaking of quarterbacks, we have another current one. Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP. One of the greatest regular season QBs of all time.
Keep him out. He's
Whoa.
got to win a Super Bowl. That's my feelings.
Wow.
I'm going to be honest, I disagree. I think if he retired after this upcoming year, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know about first ballot, but every single 2-time MVP winner, at least, who's eligible for the Hall of Fame, is in the Hall of Fame. So I think Lamar Jackson probably gets in. He's also literally, at this point, the greatest running quarterback of all time. He has the rushing record for QBs.
Yes.
He doesn't have the touchdown record because Cam Newton has that, and Josh Allen's about to pass that maybe even this year. But, he has almost as much rushing yards in his career as Christian McCaffrey. How crazy is that? It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
It's bananas.
And then,
It's
on
bananas.
top of that, he's got an incredible arm. He just threw for 44 touchdowns last year he has one good receiver. I don't know. I say Hall of Fame. I think he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame, and I would say he's Hall of Fame right now.
Yes. I would agree with Dom.
Thank you.
Mostly because and this is maybe a soft take. I get that Super Bowl wins are very important for a quarterback, but if Matthew Stafford didn't win that Super Bowl with the Rams, I would still want to see him in the Hall of Fame. The fact of the matter is that Lamar has done something no other quarterback has ever done. I think he's kind of changed that position.
Yep.
For years we had people just call him running back, and yet he just continued to develop. And he's not a bad passer either.
He's very good.
And just at the base level, when you think about like who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, in my lifetime, Lamar has been one of the most exciting players to watch. I tune in for almost any Ravens playoff game. I mean, the guy is he does electric football and he gets electric viewership. Send him to the Hall of Fame.
I love it.
I agree. I said keep him out, and I felt like that was aggressive. But I want you guys to know that I only said that because I think he's got to win. I think you need to win a Super Bowl and prove that you are a playoff and Super Bowl quarterback in order to make the Hall of Fame. But I completely agree with what you guys said, and he is one of my favorite players of all time.
Yep.
Like you said, he has changed the game. He's so fun to watch, and you can't keep your eyes off him, and you would think a play's dead, and it's not dead. He makes insane plays. His decision-making's gotten better. He's so athletic. He's fast. He is a running quarterback that we have not really seen get hurt a lot. I think he had one injured season. Like, he kind of like his other guy in the backfield, Derrick Henry. He is just doing things that the position doesn't usually do. It's amazing to see. It's very cool.
He's pretty much what everyone thought Michael Vick was going to be. If Michael Vick had actually used all of his talent.
I want Lamar in, but I don't think he gets in.
You don't think he gets in general or today? True.
Today. Today.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
think he gets in today. I think Lamar plays in at least another 4 or 5 years, and I think then he gets in. And I think there's a chance he wins the Super Bowl too in those years.
Yeah.
Um, Schmeeks made a great point that I thought about was, does Matt Stafford make the Hall of Fame without the Super Bowl win? And that's a hard question for me because I want to say yes, but a tiny part of me feels no
Maybe
because he hadn't won a Super Bowl until that
maybe
point.
we can do a segment in an upcoming episode where does this player make the Hall of Fame if they don't have any rings? I think that could be an interesting
Yeah.
one. But we have a list here, but I'm gonna add one more player just because this guy's in the discussions with Lamar and Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen. What do we think? Is he a Hall of Famer right now? And do you think he's going to be a Hall of Famer in the future? If you don't think he is right now.
Same answer as Lamar. I think no right now, but yes in the future because I think he has a couple more critical years to play. I think he's
Yep.
going to get a Super Bowl under his belt.
I do too.
He is statistically one of, just like Lamar, one of the best quarterbacks that we've ever seen in like their 6 or 7 years in the league. Like
Yep.
what he's doing, running the ball and passing the ball is
And
so
just watching
impressive.
him, I
And
mean,
and
dude,
has he been hurt?
there's
He had
some
one hurt
games.
season maybe?
Maybe I don't think so though. But
Maybe.
dude, there's some games where he's locked in and he makes some crazy plays, and I literally think to myself that is like the best quarterback I've ever watched. Like some of the plays he can make are just I don't think anybody else can ever make them. It's unreal how good he is.
And with the arm especially, that's I think one of the big things for him that makes him
Oh yeah,
so
he's got
fun
the
to watch.
biggest arm in the league.
Mahomes made. I remember thinking Mahomes would make FU throws where it was
Yep.
like, I know this coverage, but I'm just gonna throw a bullet in between three guys, and it's gonna be right in my guy's gut, and there's nothing you can do about it. Josh Allen does that too. There's been some throws he's made for touchdowns where it's
Yep.
like, it doesn't really matter how many guys are there. The ball is gonna get there, and it's gonna get through the swarm. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
The zip he has on the ball is just out of this world. I've never seen anything like it. But so we all agree Josh Allen not Hall of Fame right now, but probably will get in a few years if he keeps doing what he's doing. But now we have our list.
I think that's fair.
Now we have our list. Some of these we can go pretty fast through because they're pretty obvious. Some of them though are going to be interesting, and this first one is probably going to be interesting. Tyreek Hill. What do we think of, boys? Hall of Fame or not? Tyreek Hill.
So Tyreek Hill's painful for me,
Mm-hmm.
and this is I don't
Painful for a
want
lot of
to start
people.
this off with a controversy. Devin Hester got in the Hall of Fame as one of the best punt returners of all time. I think Hill would be there with him if he wasn't so good at wide receiver that he stopped returning punts. And I know that's probably a crazy take, but Tyreek Hill was an electric punt returner before he was an electric wide receiver.
That
So
is
just for
true.
me, the fact that Tyreek Hill was the best special teams player in the league when he got into it, transitioned into being one of the best wide receivers in the league, and has really never fallen off since he started being a phenomenal
Mhm.
receiver. Going from Mahomes to Tua, he had a phenomenal year. Last year was really his first year. I was kind of like, wow, he
Yeah.
underperformed.
I
Um,
mean, Skylar
um,
Thompson at QB will do that to you, to be fair.
yeah,
That dude is the
True.
so
worst.
to me, and he did win at least one Super Bowl with Mahomes. So I mean,
2020. I
Yeah,
looked it up today.
yeah,
he won that one.
yeah. So I gotta give it to the guy. I'm gonna say he's in.
I agree. I struggled, but I thought I had the same process as Schmeeks. Is I was like, he is so electric. He started off as a punt returner, became a great wide receiver. I think again, Super Bowls matter to me, and the fact that he got one and he had four. I think he had 4 straight seasons of 1,000 yards. 2 with the Chiefs, 2 with the Dolphins. I think I think he's already. He hasn't had the longest season ever, but he's. I think he's earned it. I don't know.
I
It's not
I
super straightforward to me,
I mean,
but
okay, so this stretch of games right here or seasons right here is easily one of the best of all time for a wide receiver. Okay, 2020 he had 87 receptions, almost 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns. 2021, 111 receptions, 1,239 yards, 9 touchdowns, and then 2022 and 2023 when he went to the Dolphins, 1,700 yards and 7 touchdowns, and then 2023 he had 1,799 yards and 13 touchdowns. I mean, those two back-to-back seasons alone. It's
Wow.
it's hard for me to say he's guaranteed locked for the Hall of Fame, but I mean, He's probably, I think at this rate, probably like one of the like 25 or so top receivers of all time. I think that would be pretty easy to say. He's absolutely unguardable, especially when he was in his prime.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. I think he probably gets in. He's
I
way
would
too
agree.
good. Way too good.
In his prime, I don't think I've ever seen another player that was so obviously the fastest player on the field.
Yeah.
Yes,
It
a
was
thousand
just
percent.
it was stupid.
The
It
only
was the
players I've
Bills game.
ever the only other players I've ever seen like that were Chris Johnson and Jamal Charles. Those two were like
Yeah.
the only guys I
Yeah.
ever saw. The hole would be open and nobody would ever catch them. It was unbelievable.
Right.
I'll never forget that first time that the Chiefs and Bills had that insane playoff game. The first time they met in the playoffs, and it was a absolute shootout in the fourth quarter. Gabe Davis caught 4 touchdowns that game,
Yeah.
but there was a drive. Chiefs had the ball with like a minute and a half left, and Tyreek Hill caught it at the 50 and outrun 4 dudes and just sprinted past all the Bills DBs.
It's
I'll never
unbelievable.
forget that play because he was so much faster than everyone else on the field,
Yeah,
and it
it's
was
just
so
unfair.
obvious. It was crazy. Yeah,
Yep.
that touchdown was nuts. Yeah, I completely agree, Shmi.
So yes to Hall of Fame for all
That's
of us
fun.
then?
I think so.
Oh yeah.
I think so as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This one, I think there's not going to be much debate. Trent Williams, Hall of Fame or not? I say yes.
I'm gonna have to disagree. I think he gave his best years to the Redskins, and he focused way too much on loyalty, instead of going to a winning team. And I can't get behind that mentality. And then he went to the 49ers, and I think he was a big part of their choke in all 3 Super Bowls.
You're
I
killing
just
Dom right now. You're
I
killing
just
Dom.
I can't get behind it. No, I'm kidding. Of course he's Hall of Fame.
I
Okay.
was gonna say, dude, this is a
Make that
Seahawks
the
fan all the way.
thumbnail.
The Seahawks bias was just like coming off of him.
Oh
Next up
yeah.
though, should be another obvious one. Chris Jones, Hall of Fame or not? Defensive tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. I say easy Hall of Fame. Easy Hall of Fame. Yeah, I mean, this is the most
Yes.
one of the most
I would-
obvious locks in here. I don't think
He.
the Chiefs don't win all these Super Bowls without him. He's that
Do you
important.
remember when he held out? He held out the first 1 or 2 games. When they lost to the Lions, he held out that
Yep.
game a season or 2 ago when they lost to the Lions at home, week 1, and he was holding out, and then the Chiefs paid him, and he came in week 2 or week 3, and their
He's a
defense
game changer.
changed. And
He's a game
you're right.
changer.
He is.
He's
He's
one of the
massive.
best defensive linemen of all time. I mean, he's just unbelievable.
Yes. Yeah.
This
I
next
agree.
one gonna be interesting. Dak Prescott, Hall of Fame or not? I say hell no. I say
I would say
absolutely
no.
not.
I would say no.
I'd agree with that.
Okay. T.J. Watt, Hall of Fame or not?
This is
I
a hard
want
one.
to. I want to say yes
Mhm.
because I think for offensive players and for quarterbacks specifically, I care a little bit more about having a Super Bowl on your resume. I don't as much for defensive players. I don't know why, but I think that having great statistics and winning MVPs stands out to me. I think for defensive players, and he has won not MVPs. I'm sorry, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
T.J. Watt's won it twice. I know
Once,
he's
I
won it
believe.
once. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I
They-
know he's gotten passed up a lot of times. I don't know if he's won it.
He's
He
won
has
it
won it.
once
He has won
when
it
he tied
once.
the sack
Okay.
record in 2021, I believe, with 22 and a half. He won
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I thought
Um,
it was like 2019.
No.
When I
No.
looked it up.
Mm-mm.
Oh, it was 2021. I'm sorry. Good call.
You're good.
He's won this award 3 times.
He hasn't won it 3 times.
Defensive
Star edge
Player of the
rusher.
Year.
Defense player, he's won this award 3 times in his career.
Boys, we are.
No, he definitely hasn't. He was a
Carter's
finalist
getting
in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2023, and 2024. J.J. Watt won it 3 times. T.J. Watt did not win it 3 times.
Dude, are you looking up JJ Watt? Don't tell me.
It says TJ Watt. It says TJ Watt.
Mm-mm.
See, this is why
I
I
don't know.
can't believe
It's
him
wrong.
when he says the Seahawks weren't a top 10 defense last year.
I was
Are you
reading
thinking
it
of
off of
leading
Fox
the?
Sports.
Are you thinking of leading the NFL in sacks 3 times?
It just says NFL Network's Defensive Player of the Year. He has won this award 3 times in his career.
Oh no, that's just NFL Network, not NFL or AP, whatever it is. The
You're right.
Associated Press one.
You're right.
That's okay.
Carter's
Good
like,
job.
That's okay.
he was the Boy Scouts of America's favorite defensive player 3 years in a row.
All right, fine. As far as Hall of Fame goes, I want to say yes. I think yes. He's led the NFL in sacks a couple of times. He has made the Steelers defense substantially better. There have definitely been games when he has been hurt that their defense looks much worse. I think he's a game changer like Chris Jones or Aaron Donald. I think TJ Watt gets in.
I don't think he gets in today, honestly. I think one person ahead of him right now, if they retired at the same time, I don't think they'd get in at the same time, and I certainly think Myles Garrett would be taken ahead of him in a first team on a first ballot of a Hall of
First
Fame.
ballot.
But
I
so
agree.
I don't think TJ Watt gets in quite yet. Maybe he doesn't get in first ballot. He probably gets in Hall of Fame, but I don't think first ballot, because first ballot is literally saved for like the best players of all time, and I don't think he's like one of the best pass rushers. JJ Watt is obviously, and I just don't see him as that kind of player, because all these other guys have won Defensive Player of the Year all during his prime and everything. I'm sure there has been a couple that have been controversial, but if it wasn't a toss-up and if he just dominated like his brother did, maybe he'd win more. Okay? That's all I have to say. Plus, he hurt Cam Newton, and Cam Newton's my second favorite player of all time, so bias. Schmeeks?
Fair.
Schmeeks.
I'm gonna give him the Hall of Fame nod. I like what you said about not a first ballot. I think that's probably fair. But there's a magic number for me of 100 sacks that he has surpassed, which is just a preposterous number of sacks to have on the best in the world in the NFL.
Caleb Williams almost had
just
that this year.
Yeah, and he didn't get to play Caleb Williams twice a year. No,
True.
yeah, I gotta give it to
that's fair.
give it to him.
Okay, next up, Trey Hendrickson. This is an easy no for me. He's been great the past 2 years, though.
I agree.
Everything you just said.
I think this next one will all be the same page on. Bobby Wagner, Hall of Fame or not? I say yes.
Yes.
I didn't like that he left the seat. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
One thing I will say is that it's outrageous that Luke Kuechly wasn't first ballot this year. That's all I have to say.
I agree.
Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
That is pretty crazy.
Mark.
Sorry to interrupt. The thing about Bobby
Spoiler.
that has me the most astounded is that he was I think he was an all-pro middle linebacker again last year. The Seahawks drafted him
2012.
like 15 years ago. I mean, it's like one of those players like LeBron James where you're like, I remember you when I was 5'4" in the league, and he's just still here, claiming bodies. I mean, the guy's a monster.
True.
He played great for Washington.
Mark Andrews, Hall of Fame or not? I say no.
I would say no. It's tough. I like him a lot.
It's hard for tight ends to get in the Hall of Fame. They literally have to be like all time to get in.
Right. Well, and the tough thing about tight ends, I was thinking about this when we did this list, is that's a position where guys play till they're like 40. Like when you think of like Antonio Gates, Travis Kelce, Tony Gonzalez, like they play till they're so old, and when they get in, it's like it's hard for me to think of a guy who hasn't been in the league for more than 10 years of getting in at all.
Yeah, that's very fair. We talked about him earlier. Matt Stafford, Hall of Fame or not? I'll say my take last. You guys go ahead.
I'm gonna say absolutely, and that Rams Super Bowl was number one BS. Most paid for Super Bowl of all time.
It was. It was.
Fair. Carter?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I would say yes. I think he's had a long career, and he's had a pretty incredible career. Lots of passing yards, lots of touchdowns. He did win a Super Bowl with the Rams. I don't think he looked very good last year. He had a couple games he did not look great.
True.
But they made
they got Devontae
won a Super Bowl the year before that. And they have Devontae and Puka, and Yeah, so I think he's earned it. I think he's earned it. And he went through the worst years ever in Detroit, so he's definitely earned it.
That's fair. I'm
Yes.
gonna say no. And I'm not saying it
Wow.
just to argue. I'm saying it because I genuinely don't think he gets in. Someone like
Mm.
Eli Manning, for instance, didn't get in first ballot, and he has 2 Super Bowls. Now, obviously, I think most of us can
Yeah.
agree outside of New York Giants fans, Matthew Stafford is a much better quarterback than Eli Manning is. But the thing is, I mean, look at their stats, dude. Look at their best seasons. Eli Manning is like one of the most actually like average QBs out there. Like literally go look at his stats right now. Look at all the
I
interceptions he
I
threw and everything.
know. I know,
Matthew
but he
Stafford
beat
is so
Brady
much better.
twice.
He did. He did. But, that D-line
I
also
That's
destroyed Tom
that's
Brady.
true. No,
I think
Stafford's stats are better.
I think Eli Manning holds a really interesting statistic in my heart of a player that made me laugh more than he astounded
That's
me by his
that's very
play.
fair. That's
He
very
was
fair.
it was like when he was coming to town, it was like the stand-up comedian was in charge of the ring show for a second.
The thing for me is Matthew Stafford hasn't won any MVPs, anything like that. He has, there's been a couple of years there where you
It's
could
fair.
consider him a top 5 QB for sure, unlike someone like Eli Manning. There's definitely been years Matthew Stafford you could say he's elite, but never won any MVPs or anything like that. I think if he won an MVP or something this year, I think he'd probably get in. But I think just one Super Bowl, it's going to be tough. He's going to finish his career probably like top 7 or so in all-time passing yards, but I just don't think that's enough to get in at this point when there's so many like legendary guys with multiple rings. They're also going to be, maybe retiring at the same time or trying to get in at the same time.
I I I don't hate that take.
Thank you.
And I
Thank you.
think that take also to me, like when you hear the words like wins or a QB stat,
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of truth to it. And it's
Mhm.
like, he did get put in a bad situation, but I don't hate the take that like a guy who didn't get the wins throughout his career wasn't an MVP. Yeah. I see it. I see the vision.
Fair. Very fair. Now, speaking of Matthew Stafford, his new wide receiver, Devontae Adams. What are you guys'
Yeah.
thoughts? Hall of Fame or not?
If you've been seeing me look over at my screen, it's because I've been
You're
looking
looking
at
at his
Devontae's
stats.
stats and if he's won a Super Bowl or not. And I am struggling
I
because
don't I don't think
I
Super
really
Bowl rings matter
I don't
that
know.
much for wide receivers getting the Hall of Fame,
I
truthfully. It's like the most
mm,
QB thing ever. Or like coach.
yeah,
Because those are like the faces
that's
of the franchise. Obviously, like Justin
that's
Jefferson or
true.
something, face of the Vikings, but like when you think of Super Bowls, you think of quarterbacks. So I don't know.
Yes. He has almost 11,000 yards
Yep.
and he's got almost 900 catches, 96 touchdowns. He's been to 6 Pro Bowls. He has been really, really, really good.
Oh yeah.
11,000 is so much more than I
Yeah,
thought.
he's almost at
I
Uh,
knew he
we
had a
12,000. He's at 11,844 with 103 career touchdowns.
wow. So that is so much more than I initially thought.
how many
And
touchdowns?
103.
104,
103.
103.
103.
Yeah.
We're losing. We're losing him.
I thought you said 803.
Rewind that. He said
800. He averages
104.
4 touchdowns a game.
um, I wanna say yes, but I don't know. I can't make up my mind to be honest with you. I
That's fair.
guess I'll say yes. I guess I'll say yes. I'm not sure.
I would say I think I see him and Tyreek Hill in the same like tier of wide receiver like all time. Devontae Adams also has been, one of the top 2 or 3 wide receivers in the NFL several years throughout his career. So dominant, incredible at catching touchdowns. Just a phenomenal receiver. But I actually might be changing my Tyreek Hill thing. I think a couple more years of production like this, he's going to get in. The thing about the wide receiver position is there's so many guys who still haven't gotten in that have better careers than both of those guys. Like Torrey Holt isn't in the Hall of Fame right now,
Eight,
and he's
right?
one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. So I will say Devontae Adams is number 10 all time in touchdowns as of right now. He could climb a lot higher. If he gets 13 more touchdowns, he'll be number 7. So, one more regular type Devontae Adams season, he's top 7 all time in touchdowns. Also,
It's
something
actually
I'm seeing
wild.
in
These
here,
are-
Jimmy Graham is number 16 all time. I had no clue. Those like
He
4
had some.
years in the Saints are carrying that
Right.
hard for sure.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't with the Hawks.
No, not quite. He had like that 1 3-touchdown game. I remember that. That's about it. But yeah, Torrey Holt, 13,382 yards, not in the Hall of Fame. So,
Wow.
920
There's your wings.
catches. Yep. Tons of guys. Steve Smith's not in. Lots of guys. So I think it's going to be tough, but I think he gets in eventually. I'm not going to say right now, though. As good as he is.
Okay. All right.
I like everything you said. You're way more educated on it than me, so I'm not going to speak. I will just add in a little bit of flavor and say that his association with Aaron Rodgers concerns me, and I think that's playing into my answer a little bit.
You sound like a mom trying to tell their kid to not, they're hanging out with the wrong crowd. I don't like that,
You're
Aaron
not
boy.
doing ayahuasca.
You need
You're
to
not
stop
doing
hanging out with that
ayahuasca
Aaron
with
Rodgers
Rodgers
kid.
again.
Okay. So I think we all
Wow.
agree he probably gets in at some point, yeah?
Maybe.
Okay. Next one, George Kittle, Hall of Fame or not? I say
No,
no.
he's lost too many Super Bowls.
Yep, true. He's the sole reason
Big old
is the
loser.
thing. Yep. He should have tried tackling harder.
Oh, dude.
I say no, though.
I
Like, on a
love
real
George-
note, I don't think he goes in right now.
I don't think so
Agreed.
either.
I love
Like-
him. It goes back to what I said earlier, where it's like when you look at like the guys who've gotten in, Gonzalez,
Mhm.
probably Travis Kelce. Well, he's coming up, so my bad. But when you look at the guys who've gotten in, it's like they've played for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think if he can keep going, probably. But like right now, it's it's hard to put him up there.
Yep. That's fair. Lane Johnson, Hall of Fame or not?
I think so.
I think so as well. I would agree. One of the best tackles in the league for forever now. Tons of all
Yep.
pros. Seems obvious. And he just led one of the most iconic, offenses, blocked for one of the best running backs we've seen on maybe even the best running back season of the 2000s so far. I think he gets in. Too iconic.
How about the 2020s? Not the 2000s. 2020s.
He broke the single
Easy.
season rushing record, including playoffs.
But did he win MVP?
That's fair. So true.
Adrian Peterson.
I said
Adrian
maybe
Peterson.
the best
Oh.
of the 2000s so far. Okay.
Dude, I was wondering where you were going with that. I will say
Sorry.
Adrian Peterson was so electric. If there was a season that compares to it, it was last one.
Fair.
I
Very fair.
appreciate that.
And I mean,
Travis
that Saquon
Kelce.
season, so many iconic moments. I just gotta say, so many
Yeah.
iconic moments.
That's
I mean,
so true.
there's a damn
I
hair in
loved
my
it.
mouth. You said Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I think he gets in.
Easy.
I think even if he
Very
retired
easy.
today, I think he
Yeah,
gets
he
in.
could retire last year and he'd get in. I mean, he's one of like the
I
four
agree.
greatest tight ends ever. So
I'm kind of surprised he didn't retire. I mean, he wanted
I
to
am
go
too.
back to back, but
he kind of
I'm kinda
played
surprised he
played
didn't
like
hang
he was
up last
retiring
year.
during that Super Bowl. He played like he wasn't there.
well, when you're
so
dating Taylor, you got other things on
True.
your mind.
Yeah.
you know?
that's fair.
Yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
what those things would be, but yeah.
Me neither.
Songs, I
Uh,
guess.
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans.
Yes,
Yeah,
1,000% yes.
I
If
think
anyone
so.
says no, I'll be so upset.
I think he gets
just
in.
broke the record for most 1,000-yard seasons. My favorite Mike Evans fun fact is I remember when he was drafted with Odell Beckham. I mean, it's crazy, and you look at the trajectory of those careers, and it gives you a scope
Wow.
of how good Mike Evans has been for so long. I know you loved Odell. I'm not trying to shit on Odell. Odell was phenomenal.
He's literally
But
my
the fact
favorite
that Mike
receiver ever.
Evans just just using that as
I
reference,
love JJ,
it's
but
been
Odell's
phenomenal.
number one. The one thing I will say, obviously Mike Evans, Odell, they had. I just got to say something about that. The only reason Odell
sure.
isn't still putting up numbers is because of all of his injuries. He just had a horrendous run of injuries. I mean, before
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson and Jamar, he was the guy putting up those crazy numbers his first 3 years in the league. I mean, he was the one setting all the records for touchdowns, first, 30 games, 40 games, all of that. And then he breaks his ankle, he loses all of his speed and everything, and then he tears his ACL multiple times. It's just it's tough, dude. We're gonna have to talk about what ifs at some point in this podcast for sure. There's a
Oh
lot
my
of
goodness, I would
Ooh.
love that. Because Odell too, after that first injury, that Rams Super Bowl that I call
Yeah, he was
like
gonna be Super Bowl
fake.
MVP.
They wouldn't have won without him, and
Mm-mm.
he played half a game, maybe
Yep,
three
That's
quarters.
true.
he was
That's
I
true.
mean, just
unbelievable in
He
that
was
game, dude.
huge.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was huge. He was.
yep.
All
it is
right. All
sad.
right. Let's
Let's get
finish out
back on
this list
track.
strong, boys. We
Yeah,
got 7 or 8 more here. Khalil Mack. I think he is now on the
100%.
Chargers.
I think he gets in the Hall of Fame quite easily.
He's had such a long career. I don't even remember where he's been and how long he's played.
he went from
Oakland,
Oakland to the
Bears,
Bears,
Chargers.
Chargers.
I remember him on the Bears.
Wow.
He was very, very
Because
good.
John Gruden was the
I would
coach of
agree.
the Raiders, and he traded him to the Bears. So, yeah. I mean, he's like one of the most iconic pass rushers of the past, like, 15 years or so. Like, he
Absolutely.
was, I don't know if a single player has done it since. He was, at the time, when he won his Defensive Player of the Year award, he was the only defensive player in NFL history to get All-Pro at 2 different positions. I mean, like, he was unbelievable in his prime. Absolutely unbelievable. One of the best pass rushers I've ever seen. So I think he gets in quite easily.
Yeah, and I just checked it. He passes that magic number of 100 as
Yep.
well. I
He
should
sure
check
does.
that before I put mine down, but checked it now.
All right, next
All
one.
right. Yeah, Keenan Allen.
I think no. I wouldn't put
I
him
think no.
above any of the other wide receivers we've talked about so far, like at all.
I agree.
So I say no to that one.
Shanks.
Unfortunate, but yeah,
Derrick Henry.
This is gonna be a tough one.
absolutely.
This is gonna be a tough one.
Sorry, I know.
That's
I
a
know.
tough one.
To
It is
me,
a
it's
tough one.
Absolutely.
It's just so hard for running backs to get in, and it's like such
Right.
It
it's
is.
such a misused position nowadays, So it's tough. I would say he probably gets in a couple of years. If he retired right now,
I
I
agree.
don't see it happening. Just because again,
And he won't be first ballot.
mm-mm.
I think.
if
Sorry.
no, you hang up.
The sad thing about him for me is that I don't know if it was misuse. I don't know if it took him a while to get going.
Mhm.
But his first 2 or 3 years in the league were really rough.
Yep.
He really took, which is weird for a running back. He's had a much longer prime later than the average running back. I mean, doing what he did at 30 was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he didn't get going until he was like 25, 26, which is very abnormal.
Yep.
But
And he carried the
it's kind of
Titans to the playoffs.
oh
Unbelievable
yeah,
run.
yeah. To me, it's kind of
Multiple
like
years.
Lamar Jackson. I just loved watching him play. He always had me tuning in,
Yep.
and I think he kind of
Yeah.
changed the position in a way. He played it in a way that felt different than everyone else. He stands up so tall when he runs, and it
Yes.
works.
He's like
And
a
it doesn't
big
feel like it should.
big Ashton Genty.
Crazy.
Like if Ashton Genty
Yes.
was like doubled in size. That's what he
Yeah,
reminds me of when
I
he
love
runs.
the guy. I know you're
Uh,
probably gonna throw a lot of metrics because you seem really into this, and I'm gonna be wrong, but I just love the guy. I gotta put him in.
Oh no,
Yeah.
he's incredible. I think he gets in a couple of years. He was so close to being the first person to reach 2,000 yards twice this year. So close. I would have loved to see it.
Wow.
And then I mean a couple of years ago, that the season after he rushed for 2,000, he was on pace for 2,000 again. He like broke his foot or something in like week 7 or something, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
He's just incredible.
Wow.
I want to see him get into the top like 6 all-time rushing yards. I would love to see that. I think he gets in a couple of years. I just don't think so right now. Not because of how good he is, but just because of that's just how the running back position is treated nowadays, unfortunately.
Yep.
Who do we have next? Stephon Diggs. I would say no. Oh no.
Not even for
I skipped
what
one
if
guy,
he
but we'll go
retires
back
a
to him.
Patriot?
If he retires, if he played his whole career on the Patriots with Drake May, he probably has 20,000 yards by now. But yeah, I
I would
mean,
say no.
Stephon Diggs, if we're going prime for prime, I would take him over Keenan Allen for sure. But any other wide receiver on this list, probably not. I think the one that would be tough would be Mike Evans because at their actual peaks, not just accounting for career stats. I think they're pretty close. But I just don't think he gets in, honestly, at least not right now. Maybe if he has a few more really good years.
I would agree.
Yep.
Totally agree.
If we're going
Let's go
off
back to the
iconic
Man U.
moments, he gets in off of the touchdown in the playoffs.
The Minneapolis Miracle.
Yeah,
I'll
that was
never
Oh
forget.
my goodness. Yep.
One of the greatest plays I've ever
Uh,
seen.
yeah.
Now we're about to enter a cave in the off season and smoke some crack because we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, baby.
It's so weird to me how damn dominant he was for so long and how strange his career has ended
Yep.
and how similar it's been to Brett Favre. And it's so weird. And I think he gets in. He won a
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
easily.
He
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 has
he
three
won
MVPs.
three MVPs. I think he gets in.
Yeah, I mean
He
he's like
maybe
a
is a
top
first
5
ballot.
or 6 QB of all time. I think he's first
Yeah.
ballot. As weird as he's
Yep.
been the past couple of years, I don't think that takes anything away from it. So,
Yep. I agree.
yeah.
I
Schmeeks?
I think he gets in. I'm gonna throw a bit of a opinion at the later career at you. That's a little bit of the negative light. Um, I remember the conversation for so long was Aaron Rodgers doesn't have help. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have help. Well, Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, and Jordan Love steps up, and they were talking about Aaron Rodgers doesn't have help all the way till Jordan Love stepped up, and then Jordan Love throws for like 3,500 and a handful of touchdowns. I don't have the stats on me, but Green Bay didn't seem to miss a beat. I think they went to the playoffs again that year with Jordan Love.
They
So
almost beat the Niners.
uh, for me, I do think he gets in. I hate this narrative that he carried the Packers. The Packers were good before Aaron Rodgers, and they're still a playoff team after him.
That's
He's
true.
had, in my opinion, a lot of luck throughout the entirety of his career, in having a good team with him in that Packers franchise.
I will say he robbed Tom Brady of the MVP in 2021. That's all I have to say.
Of
Robbed.
course.
Robbed.
Of course.
So we all agree Aaron Rodgers Hall of Fame. DeMarcus Lawrence, I say no.
I would say no.
Pretty easy no for me.
I looked up that magic number. 61.5 sacks in 11 years does not cut it.
It's not
I'm
enough.
gonna say no.
That's less than me at a
No.
family reunion. You know what I'm saying? Cooper Cup, Hall of Fame or not?
So here's my issue with this is it was only one it was only one season, but it was the best season of all time.
Yeah.
I don't think you should get on that alone, but he is a Seattle Seahawk now.
Just say it.
I would
God
say
damn it.
I completely agree with Schmeeks, but
No.
no, he just
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
have the
it's done.
longevity. And
Yeah, dude. I mean, let's just take a look at his seasons before and since then. I mean, he has 7,700 career yards. That's not even close to being good enough to get in. If he played like, let's take for instance, if those were like somehow 3 seasons total and then he retired, he might get in because he'd have the 3 greatest seasons of all time. But clearly,
Yeah.
not how that works. His first 4 seasons before the big one, he had 869 yards, 566, 1,161, 974. Then the following season, he blows up. He has 145 receptions, 1,947 yards, 16 touchdowns. One of the best seasons ever. And then he wasn't healthy. Couldn't stay healthy the next year. He had 812 yards. Season after that, played 12 games, had 700. Started 11 games this last year, had 700 more. I don't even think it's close.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't put him
Yeah.
above any of the other guys we've talked about. I mean, Keenan Allen, I would, maybe. And that's just based off a peak for peak. But as a total career, I wouldn't even put him over him. So I don't think he gets in. He's too old.
Yeah.
He has no aura. It's an easy choice for me.
We got 3 more. Cameron
No
Hayward. Cameron Hayward, and I'm gonna say no.
I
for
would
this
say
one. I
no
like
as
him a
well.
lot. He's a dominant player.
He is
but
a dog
no
for
on that
sure.
one.
For guys like that, they got to have a
Um,
defensive player of the year, like at least 1 or 2, I just don't see it.
Wow. So I worry that my criteria isn't accurate to what it needs to be. I put yes purely because I thought he was a beast. I thought he was critical
Oh,
to the
he's
Super Bowl
100% a
win all those
beast.
years ago, and but I get where you're coming from.
Hey, I mean,
I
we
think
don't
I
need to
think
all
he.
agree. It's that's
Yeah.
what this is for. I just don't think he gets
True.
in. I just don't
He
put him
has played a
up in the
lot.
same tier as like Miles Garrett and Khalil Mack and them.
He is almost hit your level, Schmigs. He's at 88.5 sacks. He's
Ooh,
almost
does
hit
he
100.
reach it? Maybe.
Maybe. He's played 13, 14 years now.
Well, yeah.
We'll see. So last
Next
two
one,
guys here. Tyrann Mathieu, the
Honey
Honey
Badger.
Badger.
That's a tough one. I want to say he gets in eventually because he was. I mean, he's on the 2010s All-Decade team. He's one of the best safeties we've had in forever, at least in his prime. He won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs, got multiple All-Pros, I believe. I feel like he hasn't done anything though the last few years, and I feel like if you're not going to do anything the last few years, you have to have a super dominant peak. And although he was amazing in the 2010s, it's been so long since he was good. I just don't think he gets in, unfortunately. As much as I love
He
him, he's one of my favorite
started
college
on the
football players.
Cardinals.
Yeah.
Do you see he played 5 seasons for the Cardinals, one for
Yep.
the Texans, and then 3 for the Chiefs, 3 for the Saints.
Yep. Yeah, him and Patrick Peterson are like best friends. They played together. That's another guy. I don't think he was better than Patrick Peterson, and Patrick Peterson is a Hall of Famer in my book. So,
I would
you know,
agree.
yeah.
There's a little bonus. I would
Him
agree.
and Richard Sherman are
Last
like the two
name,
most iconic corners of the 2010s. So, last name,
Yeah.
Joe
Darrell
Tooney.
Rivas. Joe Tooney. Joe Tooney is a yes for me.
Darrell Revis is hard because he was drafted like mid 2000s. So his prime didn't last too far into the 2010s.
I
Um,
know, I know, I know.
my fault. Joe Tooney, he has a billion Super Bowls, and he's been on two of the
He
most
does.
iconic dynasties of all time. I think he probably gets in,
I think he
honestly.
gets in.
I agree.
Schmigs.
Schmigs, yeah.
I got nothing more to add to that.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Hell yeah. All right, boys. This is it. Let's all give a hot take for the NFC East division. For those idiots out there, just kidding. For those who don't know, Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Commanders. Ooh, almost forgot.
Yep.
Anybody want to get started here? I got to go last time, so maybe I
Okay.
go first this time.
Sure. Go. We can just go straight down the line. Carter, me, then Schmigs, or doesn't matter to me. Whatever you guys want to do. We'll start off with Carter, though, regardless.
I am regretting going first because I kind of came up with 3, and one of them's lame, but I think it's most likely to happen. The other 2 are a lot more exciting, not as likely to happen.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll go with the Giants defense will be top 3 in sacks.
Damn.
They were
That's
tied.
That's a solid one.
They were tied. They were tied last year. I think I was looking up. I think they were tied for 8th or 9th. They had 45.
Mm-hmm.
Denver was in first with 63.
Yeah,
I
they
think
were
second was
nasty.
like 52 or 54. I think with their 3
Abdul
edge rushers
Carter,
that they
Dexter
have.
Lawrence, and Brian Burns.
Thank you, Schmeeks. God, I didn't want to have to look that up.
Nice job.
I think they're gonna be. I think they're gonna be behind, which maybe doesn't necessarily help them. They're gonna have to stop the run a little bit more, maybe. But I still think they're gonna be studs. I'm excited. I mean, if they can be 8th, 7th, or 8th with 45 sacks, and then add a top 3 pick as a defensive end to their team, I think they can get up to 52, 54 plus and be in the top 3. So
That's solid.
I like the Giants. I like the Giants to be top 3 in sacks on defense, even though I think they'll be awful on offense.
Pretty much, yeah. All right. I honestly, I can actually see that. I like your reasoning. I mean, yeah, they were number 9. They were tied for 8 pretty much. So with 45, they were only one behind, 6th and 7th place with 46. So I think that's pretty solid. I can definitely see that happening. I mean, they got the premier pass rusher in the draft. I could actually see it, shockingly. As bad as the Giants have been, I could see it.
Thank you. All right.
Schmeeks, I'll let you go.
Mine is a little bit outside the realm of football, so you have to bear with me. I think George Pickens assaults Jerry Jones before week 9.
It's not a hot take, to be honest with you.
Um, my
I
hot
think the
take
sun is hot.
is I
I think the sun is warm.
I wanted to say that, and I couldn't say it without laughing. So thanks for bearing with me through it. My actual hot take is actually so boring now that you said that, Carter. I said Giants will lead the NFC East in sacks and will have the best defense by DVOA. So when you were
Pretty
like,
much the
"Oh,
same
way
thing.
to remember those names, Nate," I was prepared to argue it, but it's the exact same thing. So I might as well just go with George Pickens assaulting Jerry Jones.
Okay. You know what? Not a hot take. I agree. Like I said, George Pickens does that. The sun comes up tomorrow and it's hot. So, just some obvious
Yeah.
things that
By the
happen.
last episode, we were talking about a nickname for him and CD, and I just was thinking about it, and I was like, why overcomplicate it? It's CD and CTE. So that's my nickname for the
That's
two of
good.
them.
I like it. I like that a
Very
lot,
good.
actually.
Very good.
Okay, my hot take. It's kind of two hot takes in one. Okay, so first, it's both about the Eagles though. Okay, but it's like it's two things that go together that would lead them to one of the things. So, number one, I think that the Eagles become just the second franchise in history, along with the Ravens, to as a team have more than 3,000 rushing yards this season. Okay. The Ravens have done it multiple times. They did it in 2019, 2023, and I think last year. And then the Eagles did it last year as well. So I think the Eagles do it back-to-back seasons because of their O-line and Saquon Barkley. And I think on top of that, they become the first team in NFL history to win 16 or more games in the regular season and then win the Super Bowl. That's my guess. I think they either go 16-1 and win the Super Bowl, or they go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. I don't think that happens, but I think they will go 16-1 and win the Super Bowl. That's my guess. No team has ever done it. The only team who came close was the Patriots when they went 16-0 and lost in the Super Bowl. So that's my guess. Eagles go back to
I
back.
love that. That's such a good hot take, Dom.
Thank you.
That
I wasn't even
that
thinking about the Eagles.
that has some gravity. Well, I was kind of straying away from the Eagles because I thought they're going to be so dang good. There's nothing hot or exciting about the
Right.
Eagles. Like, they're
That's
going
what
to
I
be
was
really good.
thinking.
I
That
looked
was like, the hottest take I could say is
lean
that
in.
they have the greatest season of all time. So,
I love that. Good job. I love
Thank
that.
you.
I was checking their schedule today, and I was like, they can have 12 wins. They could have 12 or 13 wins again. They
Yep.
easily could. Because I was trying to
100%.
think of like maybe taking an over under or something on one of these teams. So I was looking at the Eagles schedule, and I was like, the Commanders might push them a little bit. I think maybe they play the Lions once. They got to play the division winners, so that
Yep.
could be hard. But like I could see the Eagles doing it. Like we've talked about, like last video and this video, we expect them to be amazing again and dominate. And
Top
so
to bottom, best
I
team in the league.
respect you
On
leaning in.
paper, they could do it.
Let me ask you guys this: do you think we see all three of the Giants quarterbacks start a game this year? Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Jackson Dart. Do you think the Giants have to start or choose to start all three of those guys throughout the season? Like,
Russell Wilson is
we
the
see
starter
them.
right now, correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think we're going to see him and Jameson
I
or
agree. I
Jameis
agree.
and Jackson start a
I
game.
agree. Here's my scenario.
That's
Okay,
a great
Russell
hot
Wilson comes in. He does his usual thing where he gets sacked a ton. He throws just check downs until he just throws a giant bomb up to Malik Neighbors. It leads to like maybe 1 or 2 wins the first couple of weeks. He gets benched. Jameis Winston comes in, puts up his usual 450-yard, 5 touchdown, 6 picks performance for 2 weeks in a row, and then Jackson Dart comes in. That's my guess.
I completely agree.
Thank you.
Completely. It's
I'm glad we're on the
exactly
same
what went through
page.
my head today. Exactly went through my head today.
It's just the most perfect
know,
scenario.
This is gonna sound. The only thing I think that would get in the way of that is I'm very interested in how they're going to use both of their running backs, Tyrone Tracy, and I'm forgetting the name of
Cam
that.
Scattaboo,
Yep.
Arizona
Scattaboo.
State. Forks up
Cause,
for you,
'cause
Thomas.
let's call spade. Tracy ran very well last year, considering
Yeah, he
how
caught the
poor
ball
that
too.
offense was. And
Yes.
as someone who watched Russell Wilson in his prime, when he has a good running back that is forcing a safety into the box, he is a very dangerous man. His deep ball is just too good. When teams are allowed to just play too high safety on him, dude breaks down. It's insane. But I think that Giants run game is going to be really, really important because I'm not convinced it won't be that good. And if it is, and it's enough to threaten guys into the box, then I think Russ could ball out.
I like it. I like it.
I hope you're right, but the thing that makes me nervous is I don't think the Giants have a good offensive line, and you cannot run the ball if you don't have a good offensive line. I'm
Yeah,
trying to see what they're going to be ranked as. They are ranked 28th out of 32 for their offensive line.
well, that's fine. I would need to look. Didn't Tyro Tracy run pretty wild last year?
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
in
I had him
spite
in
of that.
fantasy, and he had a couple really good games. He caught the ball a little bit too. Yeah, he wasn't bad. I think he's talented. I think Cam Scadaboo is going to be great. I think he's going to be a good in between the tackles runner. He can catch the ball too. Yeah, I think the Giants in a couple years could be a contender, but I just don't know if
Yeah.
the O line's there. I don't know if the defense is there, and Jackson Dart's got to develop. I don't even know if he's going to be it too.
Okay. Now I got
Yeah,
one
But we'll see.
question
I
for you
would.
guys.
Okay.
Okay. What do you think happens first? The NFL's first 6,000-yard passer or 2,000-yard receiver?
2,000-yard receiver. I'm gonna have to say.
2,000-yard receiver.
You think so?
I think.
But I want to talk about this in another video because that's a really good question, and I want to dive in because I think there's a lot of players,
Is this
a lot of players that could do it.
That's fair. That's very fair. We can do like a tier list of who we think could do it, maybe on each side.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be a lot of fun. All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
we had some good
All
talks.
right.
We didn't fight as much
did.
tonight as we did the other night. Although the Drake May takes were absolutely piss horrendous, and they made me sad.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
um,
I didn't have the best list.
other than that though, I'd say it was a W. Chain Crew podcast,
Yeah.
much like they all are.
Chain Crew.
You know,
Mm.
Ayo.
Episode
2 for
2 in the
2.
books.
Yep.
Let's go. We're gonna be coming
Uh,
out with another one here soon. I
Yep,
had a
absolutely.
lot of fun, boys.
Yep, that was a good
Thank
time.
you.
Schmeeks,
Yeah,
Carter, thank you
and,
guys for joining us. Audience, whoever you are, show yourselves.
Wherever
Comment down
you are.
below what we should talk about in the next episode if you are
Yep.
interested in what we want to talk about. And yeah, one of you sign us off.
Bada bing, bada boom, baby.
There we
Ciao. Hit it.
Sure. All right. Have a great night, guys.
So good.